Welcome back to the Hoop Chat. I'm your host, Emily Austin, and here with me today is Dallas Mavericks' newest addition, Grant Williams. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, congratulations are in due because you just got your bag, so I wanted to personally say congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Remember, last time we spoke, we were at Michael Rubin's house, and that phone was glued onto you, waiting for it to ring. You were a free agent at the time. Which teams were you kind of in discussion with, and what kind of pushed you over to the Mavericks?
Yeah, Dallas was the main one. There was a couple others more interested, probably I would say like Chicago maybe or Atlanta and Boston even themselves. But Dallas was one of those where it felt like the right position, felt like the right team, that right environment, and they needed me. And it was a great opportunity to not only come in and make an impact, but also come in and make a difference for a young and mixed age team that also is trying to compete for a championship. I was super excited to come, and I was super thankful that they made it work.
Well, that's what it's all about, right? I announced on Instagram you were coming on. I really wanted more NBA focused questions, but it seems like you have a lot of fans from Tennessee, and they were definitely excited to have you on. So I did some digging into your college career, and the most interesting fact that I saw was you passed up Harvard to go to Tennessee, and your mom didn't speak to you. Is that true?
Yeah, it was actually probably my second school was Yale, not Harvard. I left
Oh,
Coach Abraham.
wow.
Coach Jones was probably ahead of the time, and then I decided to go to Tennessee. My mom wasn't necessarily happy at that, being that I'm a black male in society and had a chance to go to Ivy League. It doesn't necessarily sit well when you say you're going to Tennessee for the academic, but also to play sports. So my mom wasn't super happy about that, but it worked out. So she's smiling now.
I see that your mom forgave you because I continue to read that you went to what you described as a fat camp for Tennessee and she sent you some popcorn. So I think mom got over it.
My mom definitely loves me, so knew my favorite snack was popcorn. So when I was in school, she thought it was a good thing to send me buttered popcorn, and I was in the middle of running on the treadmill when it arrived. So let's just say it wasn't the best gift to have in that moment.
I think you can't find a better gift. But were you a mama's boy growing up?
I would say so. I would say something along those lines. I feel like I was, a little bit of both for both parents and show my love to both of them in different ways.
Mm-hmm. I heard a lot of crazy stories about Coach Barnes, and I mean crazy in the best way possible. But what is your personal favorite Coach Barnes story?
Yeah, Coach, top to bottom, has probably the best stories of anyone. He's better telling them than myself because he's very goofy and can actually tell from his experience. But Coach did a phenomenal job of testing your mental toughness. And let's just say we had many times in practice where at the end of it, he would try and see who was the toughest and he would make us run. And back in the day, I used to bobble my head when I got tired. So he made me run so much that I started my head bobbing. And he was just kind of teasing me and he made sure at the end I did the rope after too. So it was one of those um, where Coach Barnes was super motivated to make sure I was the one that he made fun of and goofed off with. But even off, he was the same way off the court as he was on.
That's amazing. You got to keep it consistent. You describe yourself as a nerd. Academically, what was your favorite subject and what was your best subject?
Academically, honestly, my favorite subject was mathematics or science. Probably I was a big math and science guy. I'm good with numbers.
Wait, you said your best or your favorite was math?
For both
Oh
my
my
favorite and my
God.
yes, I enjoyed numbers.
Wow.
It came easier to me. I never really enjoyed the chore of like going home and writing a paper and like sitting there for hours trying to like make sure it was grammatically correct and stuff like that. But when it came to mathematics, I didn't really do any. I didn't show my work, so I would just come up with the answer. My teachers would get mad at me, and then next thing you know, I would tell them, "Hey, why would I have to show my work if I can do it and I can explain it to you?" So they'd make
Oh,
explain it to them in front of them. And when I did, they were like, "Okay, never mind. They let me turn my paper in."
Wow, that's epic. I love that. Fast forward a little bit. Your first season in the NBA, drafted by the Boston Celtics. All is fun and well, and COVID hits during your rookie year. I can't say that's happened to so many people. What was that like for you?
Honestly, it was a unique experience because I always said my rookie class is going to have a lot of fun, like great stories. Everybody's different though. Everybody, like some may have the lockout, others may have this like playing during COVID. Like, for example, like Aaron Neesmith and Peyton were drafted during a year where there wasn't even a draft combine. So like I look back to that year because we played the first kind of quarter or half of the season where we had fans and it like a regular NBA. And then when the world shut down, it was like very like no one knew what was going to happen. I feel like that's how everybody felt, not only just in the basketball world, but in life. And to go back to playing in a bubble, to having to not be able to leave the campus and stay in those realms. We couldn't go to DoorDash. We had to keep the same food. It was just like a whole different environment. And it kind of, I feel like, made us all a little bit closer on that team. But even then, it makes you kind of, when you're around somebody every day and you can't get away from them, kind of can be frustrating too. So it was a unique time. And I'm definitely would say I wouldn't want to put anyone else through it, but we worked it out and we were better for it.
Well, speaking of getting closer with people, I saw you were afraid to get your grandparents sick, so you moved in with Kemba for a brief period. What was living with Kemba like?
Tim was one of the best vets, if not the best that I've had. He's a guy that is selfless. He will always offer his shirt on his back for you. And even when I was living with him, he did a phenomenal job of just making sure I not only trained and kept my body into shape and made sure I was prepared for if we did go back. But he made sure that we were able to just kind of be comfortable around one another, whether it was playing games, like playing board games, playing video games, whether it was just kind of like giving our own space because like you can't be around somebody at all times. So opening up his house for me was one of the coolest and most impactful things he could have done for me, especially at that time.
What was your favorite COVID game?
My favorite COVID game, we played Trouble, which is actually laughable because
What was
Kemba
it called?
Trouble.
Oh, Trouble. Okay, that's fun.
Yeah, Kemba and his cousin Keto are both amazing at that game for some reason, and it pissed me off.
It's good to be a sore loser in the career that you have, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
New chapters are beginning for you. You're now at the Mavericks. What was your biggest takeaway from Boston?
Honestly, the biggest takeaway I had from Boston was, to be mindful of the situation you're in and being able to adjust. You never know what your role may be. You never know how you can impact the team. It doesn't have to always be with your scoring. It doesn't have to always be with your voice. And being a good locker room presence, being a person that can build a team up because it's a long year and us all know and understand that. So being able to be that kind of like light that allows you to get through it. And lastly, I would say just competitive nature of the playoffs, like being able to understand what winning takes and what it looks like. We didn't necessarily win a championship, which is something that definitely would disappoint, but it gave a blueprint of how to get there and what to do when you're there and what not to do.
My favorite question. What is your relationship like with Deuce Tatum, and why does he have beef with you?
Me and Deuce don't have beef. That's my guy.
No. I didn't say you and Deuce have beef. Deuce has beef with you, but it doesn't seem like it's reciprocated.
It's not reciprocated, but I would say that Deuce, it's one of those things like the love hate thing. It's my little brother always. I'll always be there for him, and it's funny. He's getting older now. He's starting to like talk, and like I was with Jay the other day, and I was like, yeah, he's in kindergarten now, and he said, "You went." I told him, I said, "Man, you're in kindergarten now. You're growing up. I won't be able to see you as you grow up anymore." He's like, "You went to the Mavericks because I'm in kindergarten," and I don't know if that made me sad. And I was like, "Oh."
Oh,
But it's like one of those things where like he's gonna get to the point where he's old enough where he's not even gonna remember these conversations. And I remember I have a video of him on my phone when he was 2 years old in the bubble, So like it's weird seeing kids grow up because it means you're growing up. And as much as he can make it seem like he doesn't like me, I think he'll miss me a little bit.
That's so cute. Has Deuce ever just roasted you?
All the time.
really?
Yeah, I was about to say his father does it more than he does.
I love that.
Knowing how much the city of Boston disliked Kyrie to becoming his teammate, what's that like for you?
It's one of those things that like people don't know kind of that well. Then people have like outside opinions of him, and he's such an
Mhm.
inquisitive person. He's such a caring guy. If you ask any teammate he's playing with, they always say that there for him. He's a caring guy. He's competitive. So like it's gonna be great to be able to play with him and also be around him and see for myself all the good things I've heard about him throughout the league. So I'm excited to play with him. And as much as Boston hates him, hopefully I even it out because hopefully Boston doesn't hate me much.
They definitely don't. And I know something the Celtics fans will miss is the Bruce Wayne Batman costume from earlier this season. Can we expect more of that in Dallas?
Yeah, let's hopefully there's a new improved version. Hopefully I can afford a nicer suit now. And if anything, make some upgrades to the suit so I can have some cool things that are able to be done with it. But then even just not even just Batman, hopefully there's a little more entertaining options.
I think you told either JJ Redick or Theo Pinson that Ime was one of your favorite coaches of all time. Why is that?
Yeah, Ime is a guy that he's very vocal. He's very communicative of what he needs you to do, but he also, is very can be both critical of you and supports you. So he does the best of both worlds when it comes to like being a player's coach and communicating, but he also is really good with X's and O's. He's the most relatable coach for me because he's a former player, but he's also a guy that like is an ultimate competitor. And I always speak highly of him because he changed my career. He changed kind of like how I viewed myself and how I even played. So he's one of my favorite, if not the favorite coach I've ever played for.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, taking away what you learned from Boston, what do you feel you can bring to the Mavericks that they were missing prior to your arrival?
Yeah, the thing that I feel like I bring to Mavericks is defensive, like physicality and intensity. I feel like that's something they had more so 2 years ago than last year. They played a little bit more offensive, dominant ball versus the year before that they kind of had both. So hopefully bring us back to that level, that range, and then the continue to bring the 3-point shooting and the versatility on both ends. Expanding the role, whatever they need me to do, and being a leader on the locker room because we definitely have a mixed team, whether it comes to young guys and old and vets. So being a guy that people can look to and know that they're supported both on and off the floor.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the new load management rule?
Yeah, I think it's a rule that's going to benefit the league. I think it's going to help um, show that every game is valuable and every game has a star playing that um, for in the future when the league is going to be look a little bit different, whether it comes to TV, when it comes to opportunity, when it comes to the growth of the league and how it continues to grow internationally. And it's going to be fun because, we have the in-season tournament now. You're going to have to position yourself well for that and also position yourself well for the playoffs. So as competitive as the league is going to be, it's going to get even more competitive as time goes on.
Before you go, I have one little game for you to play. Guys, I did not give this to him prior, so I'm putting him on the spot. For the Austin Awards, I need you to rank the best small forward in Celtics history: Jason Tatum, Paul Pierce, or Larry Bird, in order.
I know two of them, so one of them is going to get mad at me. In my opinion, I think that it's Larry Bird is one still. He's right now the best Celtics forward in history. Two, it'd be disrespectful, but I'll say Jason second, just because accolades wise, at his age, I feel like he has more than Paul, and he's accomplished a little bit more than Paul. He won't necessarily have the respect of the two spot until he wins the championship in Boston. So that's something that Paul will always have over him. But the moment that he does, it's a clear conversation that JT clears. But Paul is he was such an impactful player at the time. Like if you think about Kobe, he said Paul was his biggest rival. So that's why I said it's going to sound disrespectful, but you got to give Paul his credit. Like if anything, the only reason I'm saying that JC is two at the moment is because of what he's done all the way up to 25 years old. And he has time, if he gets it by 27, 28 years old, 29, he'll have one ring and then we won't have that conversation. But I definitely say Larry, JT, Paul, just in terms of accolades, if we're going off of, winning so far in championship, you got to like JT probably has a better win percentage, but I don't know, actually, maybe so far. And then Paul will be second if we're going off a championship.
Facts. That was a great answer, and I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but I'll be brutally honest. I had one more question in here. I'm gonna have mercy today. I'm not gonna ask it. I'm feeling merciful this morning. I don't need to start causing beef between people. Listen, I know you got practice. Thank you so much for joining us. I know the Mavericks are super excited for you to get there on time, of course. So I'm going to let you go. But thank you so much for tuning into the Hoop Chat.
Thanks for having me on.